You did the right thing by coming to me straight away, Miss Perez. So Tiffany confronted you face to face as you were leaving.
That's correct, Vice Principal Hubbard. She was pissed all because she overheard me and Lucas talking to each other in the auditorium. I stood my ground and wasn't afraid to stick up to her. But, before she left, she did tell me that I was going to get what's coming to me.
Probably as a way to intimidate you. Unfortunately, that kind of behavior from Tiffany isn't all that surprising to me. I'm proud of you for sticking up for yourself. The old Phoebe that I first met and got to know probably wouldn't have been able to do it. I'll get into contact with Tiffany's mom and dad, and see when they'll be available for an in-person meeting. But until that comes, Phoebe, I would advise staying out of Tiffany's way as best as you can. And when you're talking or chatting with Lucas here at school, you both must be very, very careful. You understand?
Yes, Vice Principal Hubbard, I do.
Good. It has taken a couple months to find a suitable date, but we're finally getting to the matter at hand.
Finally. Despite keeping out of Tiffany's way, she's still been harassing me and giving me trouble.
We're hoping for the best outcome, Phoebe. Me and Principal Moonlight will do what we can to sort out the matter during this meeting with Tiffany and her parents. Tomorrow, we're going to hope to put an end to this.
You've come through for Phoebe before many times, Vice Principal Hubbard. You've done it before and you can do it again.
I really hope so, Cassandra. I really hope so.
You seem unsure of yourself, Vice Principal Hubbard.
Yes, I am feeling that way. Forgive me for that. Lately, Principal Moonlight and I have just been at really bad odds with each other. I'd explain more and go into detail, but it's complicated.
Complicated or not, you two are supposed to be a team. Regardless, if you two are at odds with each other. But between both of you, you're at least down to earth and willing to listen as best as you can, while also showing levels of compassion.
Phoebe's right, Vice Principal Hubbard. People like you should keep doing their best to keep doing the right thing. In the end, a good heart always wins.
Thank you, Cassandra. I'll keep that in mind.
Jace, get in my office right now. You and I need to have a talk about tomorrow.
Phoebe and Cassandra, why don't you two start heading to class? First period's about to start soon.
About time you got in here.
Save it.
You want to run that by me again?
I said save it. You called me in here to discuss tomorrow's plans, so let's keep it that way.
Yeah, I did, but yet you stand here trying to start stuff with me and get me mad. You just can't seem to do anything right or say the correct things to me.
Stop it, Mimi. I'm not going to stand here and pointlessly argue with you.
You're the one who needs to stop it, Jace. Now shut up, and listen to me. So as we both know, tomorrow Tiffany's parents are coming to the school to have an in-person meeting regarding their daughter. I'm so fed up with Tiffany's crap, and that's why I plan to make sure I give her parents a real piece of my mind. And if they don't make their daughter shape up, I'll have Tiffany suspended.
Now just hold it, Mimi.
If you're not going to agree with me on this with how this meeting is going to go, then you can just stay out of the way and let me do things the way I'm going to do it.
Do you even hear yourself right now? Your plan has disaster written all over it.
Explain it to me then, why you think it's a disaster.
Because your idea is the wrong way. You think it's right, but I have that inner gut feeling inside me that your way could backfire, if we are not careful.
That's your opinion, Jace, that's how you view it. Tiffany's parents need to understand that I will not tolerate their daughter's disrespect here at Moonlight High School. I'll get tough and strict with them if I have to. You need to understand that my way is what goes. You are supposed to agree with me.
I can't agree with you on everything, that's just not how this works.
Of course you can't agree with me on everything, I mean you clearly don't have my back on this. Wow, and I thought we were supposed to be a team here.
We are.
Well then show it and prove it to me then, Jace. And next time maybe instead of back talking to me, you could instead say something on the lines of, I'm so sorry Mimi, I'm sorry that this is troubling you and I don't blame you at all. And I don't want to fight about it because it'll make you even more upset, and then lash out.
27 years old, and yet whenever I've tried to talk with you, it almost feels like listening to nails on a chalkboard.
That's enough. Get out of my office, unless you want to push it further, and then I'll have more of a reason to have you fired.
I've taken big risks, I've put in sacrifices, I've done a lot of good trying to stick up and be there for you, and this is the thanks I get. You're not the same Mimi that I first got to know and befriend. You've really started changing for the worse. You clearly focus on so many negatives, as well as things from the past you can't seem to let go of.
You wanted to push it with me and now you're really accomplishing it.
I'm just stating things from my point of view. That's all.
Get out, now. Next time, keep your fucking mouth shut if you don't want to piss me off.
Jessica, I can't do this anymore.
I know. And I'm really sorry.
Might be for the best if you and I start looking for new jobs, to get away from all this toxicity.
Is that really what you want us to do?
It would be the easy way out of this. But in truth, it doesn't feel right.
Because it isn't. You and Mimi's friendship aside, the only responsible move is to stand by what you truly think is right. It's the logical move. It's the safest move, it's the sensible move. And it's the Jace move. You trust people. You often try to see the good in many of them, give them the benefit of the doubt once you have an understanding to work with. You've risked your own neck so many times for Mimi, you've been a good friend for her a dozen times over.
And look where that's gotten me.
You've done fine. You have a generous heart, that just defines part of who you are. Remember what Cassandra said to you earlier, when she and Phoebe were here in the office. She said to you, to keep trying to do the right thing. Because in the end a good heart, always wins.
Then I know what I have to do.
Good morning, Tiffany. And a hello to you, Mrs. Valen.
To you as well, Principal Moonlight. Apologies for all this delay. There were not many openings available in my work schedule.
Perhaps, but it should not have taken this long. I've been wanting this meeting to happen for at least 2 months to discuss your daughter's behavior here at school.
As I have already mentioned beforehand, Principal Moonlight, there were not many openings in my schedule, therefore, I could not simply just come in right away to have this meeting. Same thing can apply to my husband. He's got his own very busy schedule as well.
Where is your husband anyway? I specifically wanted both you and him here for this meeting.
My husband didn't leave the house yet for it, but he said he needed to tend to a separate matter. He will be joining us later.
Did he give you a time for when he'll be here?
I left the house with Tiffany before I had a chance to ask him.
Well, I'm not waiting until he gets here to have this meeting, Mrs. Valen, so we'll just have to start without him. I would like you and your daughter to please come with me to my office. Vice Principal Hubbard here will not be joining us.
Doesn't he at least get a saying in this?
No, he does not, because he clearly needs to learn a thing or two despite working here for almost 3 years. If he wants to test me, he's more than welcome to.
Nope, I'm not.
Smart decision. Tiffany and Mrs. Valen, please follow me.
This is ridiculous.
Vice Principal Hubbard, you could have spoken up at any time, but yet you didn't. Does Principal Moonlight always treat you with such disrespect?
Sadly, Mrs. Valen, yes. As you know, Principal Moonlight is always tough and strict with others. But she rarely does it with those who work with her, including me.
I won't deny being tough and strict is necessary a lot of the time, but to make you feel kicked down, not be able to input or add on to the situation, and not have a voice, I'm sorry you had to deal with that mistreatment.
I'm used to it at this point.
So then why do you work for someone like her?
Because when I first started working here years back, I stood by what I thought was the right thing to do.
Excuse me. I'm looking for Vice Principal Hubbard.
That would be me, sir.
Wait, Nora?
Flynn, what are you doing here?
I was going to ask you the same thing. Remember I had told you that I had made a last-minute appointment this morning with a concerned vice principal at one of the Tyndall Valley high schools, before I came to meet you at Tiffany's own high school for that important meeting we both were to attend.
Flynn, this is Tiffany's high school. You've just been really busy with work that you haven't had a chance to see the high school for yourself.
You're telling me that Tiffany's high school for that meeting we both were to attend is the same high school that I had to go to for my own meeting with Mr. Vice Principal Hubbard this morning?
Wait a second. Sir, you're Tiffany's father? You're the one who I messaged directly the other day through email to voice my concerns?
Yes, it would seem so.
This certainly wasn't how I expected things to go. I apologize for emailing you on such short notice about my concerns, Superintendent.
It's something I can overlook, Vice Principal Hubbard.
Well, I'll leave you 2B to talk. I need to catch up with Tiffany and Principal Moonlight.
Now, Vice Principal Hubbard, you know that you could be facing disciplinary action for a false report if any of the harassment or mistreatment claims are deemed untrue.
Yes, Superintendent, I'm fully aware and understand the consequences. I'm going to cut straight to the matter, that I have not felt safe here at Moonlight High School, because of one certain individual, who lately has been treating me very unfairly and poorly, which is starting to get way out of hand. There are many students and staff who also have voiced their own concerns about this.
Tell me everything.
Now Tiffany, we all know why you are here. You've been an absolute headache for me here at school.
Can I ask how I've been a headache for you, Principal Moonlight? If I'm not mistaken, it's Vice Principal Hubbard who's dealt with me more than you.
That's bullshit, and you know it, Tiffany.
It's not bullshit. The only time you've ever had to deal with me was when I've had to serve after school detention on more than one occasion. And whenever I have actually ended up in the principal's office, Vice Principal Hubbard is the one I've talked to.
Don't ever mention him around me again during this meeting, Tiffany. You are talking to me right now and me alone.
Principal Moonlight, I do not know what your problem is with Vice Principal Hubbard, but I honestly can't believe you'd treat him with such disrespect.
Oh, trust me, Mrs. Valen, if you actually saw me and Vice Principal Hubbard working together, then you'd understand why I've treated him the way I have. He's the one who messes up and doesn't know how to fix it. He's the root of the problem.
He's the root of the problem? I think you're the root of the problem, and just deflecting blame.
You want to run that by me again, Mrs. Valen?
You heard exactly what I said, Principal Moonlight. I work full-time as a therapist, and I've had many different kinds of clients over my 5+ years working in that field. And I can tell you right now that I've seen this kind of behavior before with previous clients of mine during therapy sessions with them.
Are you trying to compare me with therapy clients that I don't know?
I am. You exhibit similar behavior to most of them that I've talked to. Defensive behavior, short fuses, quick to kick people down, thinking everything must go their way. I've seen it all before hundreds and hundreds of times. And when you combine all of those things together into one person, it's a toxic combination.
Well, being tough and strict is necessary to run my high school, Mrs. Valen. I'm tough and strict for a reason, because of various events from my past that happened years ago. If others can't accept me for yelling and getting tough and strict with them, then that's their problem.
If various events from your past gave you problems, and those problems continue to give you issues in the present-day Principal Moonlight, then maybe you need to try seeking professional help to help deal with those past demons.
Already tried that and it didn't work.
Of course it didn't work. You gave up too quickly and pushed others away who tried helping you. I assume that Vice Principal Hubbard was one of them.
If either of you two mention that name one more fucking time to make me even more frustrated, this meeting will not just be over, but Tiffany will be getting suspended for her behavior.
That's bullshit. I shouldn't get suspended for your anger issue towards someone else.
Then stop mentioning Vice Principal Hubbard, and then we'll proceed to discuss what has to change with Tiffany going forward.
No, I don't think so. Tiffany, you and I are leaving, and we're going to discuss this matter with Vice Principal Hubbard.
That's not up to you to decide, Mrs. Valen. I'm the one who's running this meeting.
You were running this meeting, Principal Moonlight, not anymore. We barely got off any ground. I will not stand by a poorly made decision that results in Tiffany getting suspended on the spot without actually having a proper meeting discussion about her behavior. I will make sure that my husband knows about this.
Go ahead and tell your husband about me then, Mrs. Valen. I will be ready to talk with him.
Enough. I have heard enough.
I take it that you are Mr. Valen?
Yes, you are correct.
I'm glad you've finally shown up. This meeting has already spiraled down because of the actions of
Miss Moonlight. You would be wise to stop now, and watch how you speak to me.
Oh, is that so? And just what gives you yourself the right to speak to me in that manner, Mr. Valen? If you are not careful, I'll gladly have you removed by the security team.
I never had a chance to properly introduce myself yet. Flynn Velen, and I'm more known in Tyndall for my job as Superintendent. Principal Moonlight. Your tough and strict principal style may work on troublemaking students and those who break the rules, but you never be disrespectful to a superintendent. And I could not believe what I was hearing from your own vice principal, who emailed me voicing his concerns. Mistreatment of someone who's worked alongside you for years, kicking him down and making him feel unsafe in his own work environment? That is highly unprofessional.
Highly unprofessional? Superintendent, with all due respect, you need to understand that I'm tough and strict all the time with people, even with somebody like my vice principal, especially if they really screwed up big time.
Everyone deserves to be treated fairly and equally, Principal Moonlight. But you will not get the same level of respect from others if you do not respect them back yourself. You can be quite certain I will be making a full report of your mistreatment to Vice Principal Hubbard, and your disrespectful attitude to the school board. Consider your principal days numbered. Because once the school board comes back to me after I submit a well-written report with plenty of evidence, you're fired.
Fired? That's not happening, Superintendent.
Yes, it will, especially when you're only digging yourself even further into more repercussions.
I can't wait to see you fail, and then once I have the school board overrule your decision, Superintendent, you're the one who's going to.
You're unbelievable.
Oh wow, look who decided to come in here and make things.
You can stop talking now.
Don't think you can just come in here and tell me.
Me this, me that. It's always something about what you want. Those kinds of words are the first things that have been coming out of that mouth, ever since you really started to push me away. And to think, I did so much good out of my own generous heart to help you out. I started this job almost 3 years ago, because I was willing to extend my arm, to be helpful and fill in the missing gap you needed. From that point on, we really became a dream team of this school, helping students out with their problems, stopping fights and confrontations, facing trouble and misbehavior from many students, and gave them proper discipline. Even before we met, we were good friends and well acquainted with each other. I even was willing to take a chance, and take a really big risk risking my own neck, just to defend you from many people in real life who had made you as their target. And what ended up happening thanks to my help? Those people backed off and left you alone. I did all of those things for my friend Mimi, the one I first got to know and really get close to. And now, look at what you've become. It's disgusting. Just look at yourself. You're a former shell of the girl I first got to know. Always so angry and so toxic, and all you see are the negatives that always come at you from every angle. Those negatives have all but taken away the former person you used to be, turning you into the person standing right in front of me. And why did those negatives take over? Because you want certain things that happened back then to result in an outcome that's best for what you want. Many of us can actually try and put the past behind us. But you, Mimi, you clearly hold on to the past because that's what you've allowed yourself to become, even with help from others. Your past issues, the inability to move on, you hold on to them, and this is exactly the kind of thing that would happen as a result of all that. All those negatives, all the self-doubt in yourself, all that frustration, and worst of all, not allow yourself to truly heal so that you could finally move forward. All of it has completely blackened your heart. You want everybody to like you. That was one of the things you've always told me. But let's be brutally honest, that's never going to happen, and it's all thanks to that blackened heart of yours, that will continue to darken, and it's also thanks to those constant negatives that remain a strong burden to you. The Mimi that I first got to know is who deserves to be Moonlight High School's principal. You're not her. You've taken away the former person who I extended my arm to, you selfish bitch. So I'm going to cooperate with the superintendent however I can, to make sure you're no longer in power here at Moonlight High School. I didn't even want to do all of this, but you brought this upon yourself. You've got much to learn, and hopefully, you'll learn it as soon as possible and learn to accept it, without just simply giving up and quitting on the spot. Letting out all of this anger and frustration is probably the hardest thing I ever had to do. And boy did it fucking hurt. I'm sorry, Superintendent. For everything. Report me as well to the school board if that's what you need to do. It's probably for the best that I'm revoked of my position also.
You have a good heart, young man. At least you can take accountability and responsibility.
And apparently I don't accept responsibility because, I guess according to him, I'm a bad friend.
I got Byron just before I came here, and he's right outside the office door. So unless you want to be forcefully removed, stop.
Back to the topic at hand. Yes, I will have to mention you as well in my report to the school board Vice Principal Hubbard. But as I previously stated, you do take accountability and responsibility. You're also upfront and honest. Are you the kind of person who tries their best to keep doing the right thing?
Yeah. I guess I am, or at least I try to be. Good professional help is what this woman truly needs. That's the hard truth of the matter. Until she actually gets said help to tackle her past demons, she's unfit to run this school in her position. If I was given a chance, I would run this high school in her place, and do the right thing to lead by example. Because in the end, a good heart always wins.
I see. Me and my wife would appreciate having a proper meeting about Tiffany's school behavior with you in your office, Vice Principal Hubbard, as well as your cooperation in regards to my report.
You can expect my full cooperation with both of those matters, Mr. Villan. Please excuse me.
Dad, I think he deserves a fair shot. I know you have to do your job and report directly to the school board, but you heard what Vice Principal Hubbard had said himself, if he was given a chance. I'm being legit. I think Vice Principal Hubbard should be given that chance as someone to take charge. Someone has to. Principal Moonlight needs to do her part and seek professional help to deal with her past.
The verdict will lie with the school board, but perhaps a recommendation for Vice Principal Hubbard to become principal wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Hey Jess, be honest with me about something. Do you think I did the right thing by sticking by what I believed was the right thing to do?
With how that all went? Yeah, I think you did the right thing, contacting the superintendent and sticking up for yourself against Mimi. Anyone else that we know who knows you well enough, would probably agree with me too. She was good in the beginning to all of us in our circle. But now, it's time that we start cutting that toxic in our lives out. She is done for.
As a member of our friend group, absolutely. And having her job as principal here? Good chance, she'll lose that as well, and won't get it back. She will have lost everything with us that she gained. Until she actually puts in effort to seek out therapy and/or professional help.
She is affecting all of us. Taking a step back away from her and all those negatives, is for the best.
Do you see visions of the sea? To fly so high as you could be?